Good morning and welcome back to CityLine. With me, I have three individuals. We are here to have an in-depth conversation about temporary sheltering and this time of year, especially how it affects our homeless population. It's not pretty out there right now, so let's get into it, shall we? Please join me in welcoming Erica Azcueta. You are the program manager of this for the city of Tacoma. Welcome, Miss Erica.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Mr. Mike Yoder, one of my favorite people. You are the director of Associated Ministries. You've got some big shoulders. Welcome back.
Thank you. Great.
Good to have you here. And this beautiful woman who is ending out the end of the comfy couch, Tiegan Tidball. You are the systems analyst or a systems analyst for the city of Tacoma. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's get a shoe cam and a sock cam on. Okay, put your foot up. Hold still. There we go. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Tiegan, I have to tell on you, Tiegan got caught in traffic. And I didn't get a chance to say hello to Tiegan in the green room before we went on. And she walks in with these on during the break and just like, sister, you are just Miss It. Fabulous. All right, so let's talk about this because we have just, we don't really have all the time I want, Miss Erica. So for people who don't know, City of Tacoma declared a health and safety state of emergency on homelessness, and this was back in May of 2017. And the City Council charged the city manager to create a plan so no person would have to sleep on the streets of Tacoma. So today, as of this moment, we're still operating underneath this state of emergency. So what strategies has the city implemented to solve this issue, and how's it going?
It's going great. Immediately, the city set up our temporary emergency shelter that's still up down on Puyallup and Portland Avenue. Yes. It houses 80 individuals. It served over 200, and 70 of them have obtained housing. In addition to that, we've had the opportunity to invest in some innovative programs and modify our regulations to allow faith-based organizations and nonprofits to operate and host a temporary shelter.
That is fabulous. Wow. So it's a great segue into, I want Mike to answer this first. So tell me about how the city and Associated Ministries are partnering to end homelessness, because this is not something you would automatically think would fit.
Sure. It is a little bit of an unusual alliance,
yeah,
but I think a logical one. Associated Ministries' goal over 50 years of being in community, this is our 50th birthday this year in 2019, has always been to convene and bring people together to serve the needs of the community. Primarily, we've done that with faith communities, but any persons or organizations of goodwill that want to partner to seek to serve the vulnerable, we've been all about that.
Yes.
And when the city's emergency declaration came about, we just knew that it was an opportunity to do something more, to partner faith communities with with what the city could do to help them step up and live into the unique role they can play in serving the community. So we have hosted community meetings of the faith community for the past 2 years. Interestingly enough, we started those in 2017, yes, just before the emergency declaration, where we gathered the faith community just to talk reality. What could you be doing as communities of faith to serve those in need? And at the same time, the city has been a real partner with us in that and saying, we want to make it easier and more accessible for faith communities to step forward and serve in a way they uniquely can.
So how are we doing from your faith-based nonprofit perspective? How is the city doing at innovating to solve homelessness?
Well, I think it's really, really encouraging. I think in many municipalities, and I think, truth be told, even here locally in Tacoma, there's been a bit of a checkered history where the city and its leaders, I would say maybe its council members, have heard and listened more to neighbors in communities where maybe they didn't want their neighborhood church, to have a tent city in the parking lot or emergency sheltering in their fellowship hall. And so there have been some pretty high barriers over many years that have kept churches really fairly unable to really step in and provide some of these compassionate responses to those in need that maybe they would have liked to. And now the city is aggressively working, to remove those barriers. So to me, it's a very, very encouraging sign.
Absolutely.
Our city is saying, we recognize the role that faith communities can
We need your help.
play. We need your help.
Absolutely.
They're calling to the faith communities in such a time as this, and then taking some concrete steps to make those barriers be lessened.
So Tiegan, what would a temporary shelter look like, and how might it operate? And then we want to find out from you, Erica, in the sense of what kind of regulations are needed.
Well, it's a great question because, as Mike was saying, we've lessened some of our barriers to have the faith community participate. And so I think what's great about it is that there's a variety of options. There's not one single option that faith communities can take to be like, this is what a temporary shelter looks like. Some of them could be indoors, some of them could be outdoors. It also includes safe parking. So there's a variety of ways that the faith community can participate in operating shelters, and they could be smaller, they could be larger. Part of it is really just speaking to what that faith community's mission is and really thinking about what their congregation is looking for. So they can really tailor it to fit them and what fits their needs, but also to support the community. So it's kind of a really exciting time that it's flexible the way that it is right now.
Absolutely, because if the area around that faith-based community has, let's say, a lot of single moms and children that you're constantly seeing out there, that's going to affect what that shelter looks like, as opposed to we have a lot of vets that are by themselves and they are injured and they need help. That's a different kind of shelter. So Erica, how does the temporary shelter regulations allow a faith-based organization to help the homelessness?
So it really does allow them to help and partner with us and collaborate to serve our most vulnerable residents and give them a safe place to be and some consistency. A lot of our homeless population, they don't know where they're going to be every night. So having somewhere they can go every single night and giving that safety, I think that's the biggest thing that they can provide.
So how much interest have you had from other faith-based organizations since this started?
We've had quite a bit. We've had a lot of people questioning now that we've really leveraged our partnership with Associated Ministries. We've had some more people coming to us and kind of asking more about what the regulations look like, and really reminding them that this is their program, and based on their capacity, they can dictate what that looks like.
Okay, so Mike, this might seem like, from your perspective, a very simplistic question, but why would a faith-based organization want to be involved with this work? It's hard work.
It sure is. I mean, who, in their right mind would want to step in, to a situation like this? And yet that's what people of faith throughout history have always been called to do. I think, if you look at the history of the response of people of faith, people motivated by their faith convictions to reach out, love, serve, golden rule, most of the efforts in most communities have some kind of a faith-based origin to them, between the Salvation Army and the rescue missions and Catholic Community Services. The faith community and organizations connected to them have always been on the front line of responding. So this isn't anything new. It just looks a little bit different now, at a time when there's a lot of churches in a lot of neighborhoods that have a lot of space and facilities that may not always be fully utilized.
That huge basement downstairs that nobody ever uses.
And how might, at a time like this, that be repurposed to serve our community's greatest urgent
right
need
outside
right
our
now.
door?
So I think it's a logical next step for faith communities to step forward, and especially with a willing partner like the city who's saying, we are now recognizing your ability to be part of the solution, and we want to move towards you and really try to help you live into this role.
So Tiegan, when Mike talks about the kind of support that the city offers, let's give us an example to help us maybe talk to those other organizations who are on the fence right now about this.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of supports that we have set up to really make this a partnership and walk alongside the faith community should they choose to embark upon this path with us. So some of the things that we do is really meet on one-on-one consultations and kind of see what their need is, what their resources are that they have in their community and among their commissioners, parishioners, and figure out what we can do to really support them. So we also have set aside some money, a fund for the permit for the waiver, so they don't have to pay for the fee of the waiver as well. So part of it is really meeting with them, talking them through what that program could look like for them, what suits them, and how does it speak to their need to support the community and their mission. And part of it is, like I said, walking alongside them, supporting them through the permitting process and things of that sort.
Yeah.
So really to make sure that it's something that's going to be successful for them. We don't want to set anybody up to do more than they're able to do.
Right. Or not give them enough, and then the need is so overwhelming, it adds to the frustration and the crisis already out there. So what are the first steps a faith-based organization should take, Tiegan, if they're interested in becoming a temporary shelter?
The first step I would say is reach out to us.
Yeah.
The
We've
best
been showing
part,
the website. The
absolutely. Give me a call. Let's set up a meeting and really kind of talk through it. Because what's also really exciting is not everybody has the same resources in the sense where they can host it on their site, but maybe they have a ton of volunteers and they could send people to that, or maybe they can make meals. So part of it is a little bit of a matchmaker where we can see who has what and really support them. But if we don't know that they're interested in participating, I can't make some matches. And so that's our hope too, is to really leverage what people have to offer and different faith communities have, and using those resources to really come and combine those efforts to make a larger impact.
I love that. So last question here, Mike. And actually, I want all three of you to answer this question here. What would you say to the average citizen about how they can be involved, whether they are faith-based or not? And where should they start? Erica, let's start with you.
I think to the average citizen on how they could be involved, that there's many different ways. As an individual, finding a nonprofit to give their time to, to donate, have a fiscal impact. If they want to promote a nonprofit event to their friends, there's so many different ways to do that, and so many opportunities and different organizations to meet that need. So that would be my suggestion.
I love that. Great answer. What about you, Mr.
So I say yes on all of that.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
We want to make sure that we do mention an opportunity that people have to learn a little bit more, which is our quarterly meetings that I mentioned earlier in this segment. The next one will be on March 21st, and that's the first quarterly meeting of this year where the community can come together, and folks like these great colleagues here usually come to those meetings, and it's a room full of resources, ideas, and I think it's an energizing space where people can come and say, what could our role, what's the reality, what's out there, what kinds of opportunities do we have, and then hopefully some energizing commitment to step into meeting some of those needs. So I'm
sure that will be on both your websites.
Yes, so please come to that meeting on the 21st of March.
And Tiegan, what would you add?
What I would add, those are great.
They are.
That sometimes everyone does what they can do. And so listen to what it is about yourself that is your calling of how you can make that impact, because it's different for everybody. Not everybody's going to do maybe what we do, but they're going to do something else that's really special and important to them to make an impact. And sometimes I always like the idea that you don't always see the flowers from the seeds you plant, but you still planted them. So
You sure did. Absolutely. I love this. Thank you, all three of you, for first off, being here today and taking the time to bring your hearts on the couch and to talk about this very tender, important subject. This is a subject that never leaves the three of you, nor your team members. It's not something that you can just turn off in the middle of the night. You think about it. We all think about it. And as we have all learned, one of the most important things we can do for our homeless population is to stop and to see them and to say hello and to ask them what they need. And if we can provide that need, then do so. Carry peanut butter. Anyway, I want to have all three of you back very, very soon to talk more and more about these temporary shelters, especially as we start to work through, thank goodness, winter and then get into more comfortable months as much as it can be. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we come back after just a quick break, Tacoma Opera is here, and they're going to talk about their upcoming production of Lucretia. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.